In 2013, we saw Jay venting about Kanye's difficult personality in a Zane Lowe interview, where he explained that the duo had actually agreed to move on to solo projects after Watch the Throne was wrapped up. But apparently, after hearing 2 new tracks that Jay had recorded for his new Magna Carta album, Kanye apparently got aggressive in insisting that they go on Watch the Throne, leading to a 4-day argument which at one point even sounded like it nearly got physical.
And I played those records for Kanye and he was like, no, those have to go on Watch the Throne. So we spent 4 days arguing about those records. But, you know, not like fighting. Well, it was some pushing at one point, but not between us, right. Just everyone else.
And clearly these arguments had also gotten under Kanye's skin, because when Jay-Z's solo Magna Carta album finally dropped, despite being absolutely flaming on Twitter, Kanye completely ignored the album launch. Instead, choosing amongst the fanfare of adulation of Jay-Z's new album on Twitter to tweet about having recently seen Pacific Rim. But by no means was this rowdy rimmer done ripping Jay-Z, oh no. Because Kanye would eventually take to the stage and tell fans specifically that he wasn't really fucking with Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake's recent output.
And I got love but hope, but I ain't fucking with that suit and tie.
Now, that on-stage outburst might not have been taken kindly by Jay and Bey, and trouble would be on the horizon once again in May 2014, as Kim and Kanye decided to combine forces and create the most obnoxious personality media empire in history, getting married in a big ceremony where Jay-Z and Beyonce are notably absent. Some rumors actually even swirled that Jay-Z had turned down the best man position in the wedding because he didn't like the idea that they were filming the wedding for Kim Kardashian's reality show. But hey, who needs a best man, because reportedly, Kanye West delivered a 45-minute solo toast to himself. I mean, as excruciating best man speeches, this one has truly got to take the cake. How am I supposed to choose a best man when I am the best man? That said, there clearly wasn't too much ill will between these power couples, as Beyonce did publicly congratulate Kanye and Kim on Instagram, and as it would turn out later on Jay-Z's track Friends, he would reveal the reason they didn't come to the wedding. Apparently all the result of the marital trouble that Beyonce and Jay were going through at the time. And if you're wondering, I have covered Jay-Z and Beyonce's marital drama extensively on this channel, so if you want to know the full story of why Solange Muay Thai kicked Jay-Z all the way back into the Reasonable Doubt days, go give that a watch. Kanye initially told GQ that he didn't care that Jay and Bey weren't at his wedding, because the only attendee that was important to him was Kim. Oh, sorry, no wait, the only attendee that was important was him. This of course later emerged to be big cap, as in 2018, Kanye was interviewed by Charlemagne the God telling him that he felt hurt that Jay and Bey didn't come to the wedding, ultimately suggesting that he didn't care about the issues that they had going on. They should have gone. A small slight between these brothers, a missed wedding, sure, but by 2015, this clearly wasn't enough beef to stop Kanye and Jay-Z getting a bag together. Because in 2015, Jay-Z publicly launched his streaming service Tidal by trotting out a bunch of artist owners on stage, because you know, rich famous millionaires need to be paid more. And of course, Kanye was there on stage looking mad grumps. But despite his outward demeanor, Kanye West's positive relationship with the Tidal streaming service would roll into at least the start of 2016, when in February, Ye gets to business on Tidal's behalf, releasing his hotly anticipated album, The Life of Pablo, initially as an exclusive to Tidal, with some early tweets suggesting that maybe it would only have a week of exclusivity on Tidal, followed by others saying that the album would never be available on Apple streaming services, and that Tidal will be the only place that you could ever get this album. Now seemingly, Kanye West did Jay-Z a massive solid here. The exclusive rights to The Life of Pablo took Tidal to the #1 app in the App Store in the USA, and reportedly, within a tight 10-day window, Kanye's The Life of Pablo racked up a whopping 250 million streams. I know that number's been disputed, but you can't deny that The Life of Pablo got Tidal popping, in a way that it probably never has been popping since. This was an ungodly amount of streams, especially for a subpar service like Tidal. But by March, Kanye was releasing the track Famous from Pablo as a real radio single, later followed by the same treatment for the track I Love Kanye, with those being released on competing streaming services Spotify and Apple Music. So with that in mind, after intense speculation just before we got to April, Kanye released an updated version of The Life of Pablo on Spotify, Apple, and even Google Play Music, aka where music goes to die. Question is, if a popular album is uploaded to Google Play Music and it doesn't get any listens, did it ever even make a noise? No is the answer to that, no. Anywho, this exclusivity finesse left these suckers who had shilled out $10 for Tidal the week before feeling duly scammed. And so within a few weeks, apparently a fan had even filed a class action lawsuit against Kanye and Tidal over suggestions that it was false advertising to say that it would be a Tidal exclusive forever. This lawsuit actually hung around like a real bad fart until around 2019 when it was settled out of court. I hope that dude at least got a Tidal-sized bag, i.e. small. But setting aside that behind-the-scenes drama, we would eventually get hints from Kanye himself as to what had gone down in these backroom deals. With Kanye going on to drop some knowledge on the Jay-Z sampling Saint Pablo track, which was leaked onto Apple Music in March and eventually added to the track listing of Life of Pablo later in the year in June. In this song, Kanye actually says that he nearly signed a $100 million deal with Apple and was even considering giving Jay-Z a $20 million handout to make up for the fact that he would obviously be going against Tidal. But in the end, Kanye ultimately decided to stick within the family and stay with his deal at Jay-Z's Tidal, suggesting that because Jay-Z is essentially a billionaire, Kanye will never go broke if he just continues to rock with whatever his big brother is doing. Before going on to hark back to the Taylor Swift incident, saying all he asks is that next time he runs up on stage, they all go. Now that's an interesting tidbit to me, because what it really says is that Kanye is still sore about the Taylor Swift incident, particularly the fact that Jay-Z and Beyonce ultimately didn't actually back him up in what was really a stupid but intensely loyal thing to do. Anyway, with that insight, it's very clear that Kanye's behind-the-scene love of his big brother Jay-Z is still going strong. So despite the stolen Coldplay verse, despite missing out Kanye's shit wedding, and despite Kanye losing out on a big bag by going with Tidal instead of Apple Music, but in October 2016, Kanye would be served an incredible curveball as Kim Kardashian is robbed at gunpoint in a Paris hotel room. In a spectacular incident that is truly the stuff of a Hollywood movie, one that would probably go $100 million over budget just trying to find a butt double for Kim, story goes that apparently after showing off some expensive diamonds and her location on social media whilst traveling in Paris, some French gangsters decided to give Kim K the Pop Smoke treatment, with some hard-boiled Parisian thugs dressing up as police officers and finessing the hotel concierge to lead them directly to Kim's hotel room in a surprise attack around 2:30 a.m. Once inside, they tied up Kim Kardashian and robbed reportedly over $6.7 million worth of jewelry. Kim later said that she feared for her life and even thought she was going to be raped. But apparently, Parisian criminals have higher standards than Kanye, and they simply took the jewels and got out of there. Famous sayer of words James Corden actually came out after this incident went public, telling people not to joke about what had happened to Kim. Helpful advice from a man who hasn't said a funny joke in 10 years. Kanye was actually informed of this incident literally whilst performing on stage, causing him to immediately rush out of the venue to be at Kim's side, a moment that was caught on camera.
I'm sorry, this is a family emergency, I have to stop the show.
Now this incident obviously took an enormous toll on Kim and Kanye, and I don't want to underplay how serious this incident was or how awful this must have been for them to go through. And this was truly exemplified by Kanye's behaviour in the weeks that followed, as he would continue to go into long rants on stage seeming more and more distressed, and eventually telling the crowd that after this very difficult incident that him and Kim went through, he didn't feel like Jay-Z gave him the appropriate response.
Call me after the robbery, you say how you feeling. You want to know how I'm feeling? Come by the house. Bring the kids by the house. Wifey brothers. Let's sit down. Next one.
And as the days went on and Kanye's rants continued, he would continue to keep Jay-Z in his crosshairs, eventually going on to say that Jay-Z should call him and suggesting in a very boneheaded maneuver that Jay-Z apparently has killers on deck. Now, to be fair, Kanye was actually hospitalized and put under psychiatric evaluation within days of these rants reaching their fever pitch. And some of the more conspiratorial fans may have pointed out the fact that it is a little bit suspicious that within only days of exposing Jay-Z's killers on stage, Kanye had been duly locked up and silenced. Perhaps proof of Jay-Z's true connection to killers and Illuminati, whatever the fuck Illuminati shit is. But of course the reality is much likely way less sinister, with Kanye seemingly suffering a genuine mental lapse under the pressure of what is clearly a very unfortunate and traumatic event for his family. And Jay-Z perhaps giving his little brother just a bit of space to work through these issues in his own time, didn't speak on this. However, it is certainly clear that Jay-Z must have felt some type of way of being publicly dragged like this, because in 2017, Jay-Z would end up mentioning this incident on Kanye on the track Kill Jay-Z from his 444 project. Jay says that he felt hurt because he thinks he did right by Kanye, referencing an apparent $20 million tour contract that Jay-Z's Rock Nation had secured for Ye, suggesting that it wasn't fair that after giving him a $20 million opportunity, Kanye gave Jay-Z 20 minutes of shit talking on stage. But Kanye himself actually clapped back at this lyric later on in his interview with Charlemagne, suggesting that it was kind of wrong for Jay-Z to hold this money against him when Kanye was being represented by Rock Nation and it is literally their job to secure him bags.
That concept that you gave me, that he gave me the money, that's what frustrated me, because actually the money he got from Live Nation. Roc Nation was managing me at the time. That's something normal that someone gives someone a touring deal. That made me feel like I owed more than just the money itself, for the fact that it came from him.
A few months after this on-wax response from Jay-Z regarding money, things turned even more sour, as Kanye would publicly leave Tidal following reports that Kanye was owed a $3 million check relating to just how well the life of Pablo had performed on Tidal. And it's around here that the relationship between Kanye and Jay-Z truly breaks down, when the lawyers are involved and payments are being disputed, ugly rants on stage, sneak disses in songs. It's no surprise really that these two were suddenly no longer on speaking terms. Now, Jay-Z is famously coy about his personal life and relationships, but we got a few hints in the months that followed. In November, Jay-Z did an interview with Dean Beckett, and when asked about Kanye, he says that there's been a great deal of tension over around a 6-month period by this point.
I hate Kanye the other day, just tell him that he's my brother. I love Kanye. I do. It's a complicated relationship with us.
Then in 2018, once again, Jay-Z would briefly address his fractured friendship with Kanye whilst appearing on David Letterman's new show. Not going too far into it, but basically saying out and out they have had a falling out, though Jay still sees Kanye as a brother.
Kanye West, are we friends? Are we not friends?
That's my brother. We're beyond friends. Siblings?
Yes.
You guys ever have a falling out?
I'll let you know when it's over.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like that.
Yeah.
It was that same year that Kanye, of course, addressed a number of these issues that we have already covered in his interview with Charlemagne, an interview that seemingly took place in a low bandwidth version of a real celebrity's mansion, where it seems the majority of his furnishings haven't properly rendered yet. Ultimately, at this point, Kanye said that his relationship with Jay-Z was indeed fractured, but they are at least communicating by text message.
You know, where you and Jay at now?
We good. You know, we tweeting, we texting each other, it's positive energy.
Have y'all seen each other?
I haven't seen him, but I can feel him.
Clearly, at a certain point, this becomes a bit of a one-sided relationship. And towards the end of 2018, in September, Kanye returned to Instagram and seemingly extended a small olive branch in the form of a post labeling Jay-Z and Beyonce as family. Notably, Beyonce is actually wearing a pair of heels that, at least on first glance, appear to be the Yeezy Season 5 PVC clear plexi heels. However, it would later emerge that billionaire Bey was actually wearing basic knockoffs, because on closer inspection, Beyonce is actually simply rocking a $50 pair of Malibu clear perspex mule heels with wedge, whatever that means. Out here looking like basic Beyonce. Anyway, who knows whether Kanye had actually shared this image out of pure friendship or to promote his shoes or for any other reason. Perhaps the details of the knockoff shoes never got back to him, perhaps he wouldn't even care anyway. But without realizing it, Kanye would make matters worse again in September when he went on his embarrassing MAGA rampage, publicly coming out to support Donald Trump and famously wearing a red MAGA hat during his appearance on Saturday Night Live.
If someone inspires me and I connect with them, I don't have to believe in all their policies. They bullied me backstage. They said, don't go out there with that hat on. They bullied me backstage.
And after being publicly bullied for that performance, Kanye decided to hop onto his private jet and bully himself, I assume, with several Big Macs on board, and more tweets that saw Kanye sharing once again his MAGA hat and some more political opinions. After this, reports actually begun to emerge that suggested that the real reason that Jay-Z and Beyonce were keeping their distance from Kanye was all rooted in his Trump support, with Jay-Z and Beyonce having publicly endorsed Hillary Clinton before the election and having spent years cultivating a close friendship with former president and three-point god Barack Obama.
That's what I do.
So the MAGA hat was hardly a slam dunk for Yeezus, and the hat actually got a shout out when Jay-Z appeared on Meek Mill's song What's Free in 2019, with lyrics that some people thought initially were taking a little dig at Kanye, saying, "No red hat, don't Michael and Prince me and Ye, they separate you when you got Michael and Prince's DNA." Now Jay-Z was actually forced to explain this line on Twitter after it released, making it clear that the intention of the lyric was to tell people not to pit Kanye and Jay-Z against each other despite their personal or political differences. perhaps with this line originally intended to be yet another olive branch to Kanye that was sadly misinterpreted. But hey Jay-Z, sometimes your lyrics are so deep and cryptic, pretty much everything just comes off as a diss. Kanye clearly wasn't tripping over this, and he even replied to Jay-Z's tweet about it, asking when is Watch the Throne 2 coming? And that is a good question, because if it doesn't drop soon, me and Mario Judah are going to have to link up and release it for him. Anyway, whilst Watch the Throne 2 sadly never did surface, the closest fans would get to a true public reconciliation between Jay-Z and Kanye West would come courtesy of none other than P. Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Brother Love, aka Swag, at his 50th birthday party. Diddy's event, being a who's who of heavy hitters in the rap game, naturally attracted both Jay-Z and Kanye West, who ended up sharing a brief friendly moment at this event that was thankfully captured on film. Who knows what Kanye was saying to Jay-Z in this moment? Maybe he said, I'm sorry for the beef, let's just be friends. Maybe he said, Jay, I need to go back and tweak those drums on Heart of the City so that it hits just right. Or maybe he just says what he always says, I'm the real life Walt Disney. I'll drop another album on Tidal, all I need is an injection of $1 billion and a pint of Biggie Smalls' blood. All we know is that these two artists essentially came from nothing, and together became the biggest giants of the rap game. A lot of shit has gone down on this near 20-year journey, with a lot of love lost on both sides. But at the end of the day, they always do and always have seemed like true brothers, who would never really hold anything too hard against the other. And sure, I'm sure it stings just a little bit, what with Jay-Z's persona of being the first billionaire in the rap game, to within only a year to have been net worth gazumped by his little brother's supposed $5 billion Yeezy Gap bag. But the fact is, both Jay-Z and Kanye West have clearly influenced each other one and the same over the years to go harder, to make more and better art, ultimately benefiting no one more than the fans. There's no blueprint without Kanye, there's no Jay-Z without the blueprint, and there's no Kanye without Jay-Z.